The market streets of Draxon 7 were always loud. Voices from every planet filled the air, sellers shouting, ships flying, music playing. But no one noticed the small girl sitting quietly in the corner. Her name was Lyra. She was only 16. And her right leg was gone, replaced with a metal stick that didn't work well. Her clothes were old, torn, and dirty. Her dark eyes stared at the ground. In front of her was a small sign, written in simple words. Alien girl for sale. Need money for prosthetic leg. People passed by her. Some looked. Some laughed. Some just kept walking. No one stopped. Lyra was part alien. Her skin had a soft silver glow under the sun. Her hair was dark purple, tied in a messy braid. She looked different, not human, not full alien. Maybe that's why no one wanted her. 3 boys walked by and pointed at her. Look, a broken alien girl, one said. Can we buy her and sell her again? The other joked. They laughed and walked away. Lyra didn't cry, not anymore. She had cried too much already. She had once lived with her parents in a small colony. They were kind people. Her father was a mechanic. Her mother was a healer. But then the war came. The human outer conflict, they called it. Bombs dropped. Fire everywhere. She remembered running. She remembered the heat. She remembered screaming. And then waking up in a hospital without her leg. Her parents were gone. Her home gone. Everything gone. She tried to live. She tried to work. But no one hired a broken girl. So she came here, the biggest trade city in the system. She thought maybe someone would help. Maybe someone would feel sorry. Maybe someone would buy her, fix her leg, give her work. But days passed. Nights came and went. Still, no one stopped. Until today. Lyra heard footsteps. Slow, heavy ones. She looked up. A tall man in a black coat stood in front of her. His face was hidden under a dark hood. His boots were dusty. He said nothing. Lyra felt cold. Was he another one who just came to laugh? Do you need something? She asked quietly. The man didn't answer. He bent down, picked up her sign, and read it. Then he looked at her. His eyes were strange, not cruel, not kind, just sharp. Like he could see through her. Finally, he spoke. What's your price? Lyra blinked. What? Your price? How much for you? She swallowed. I don't want much. Just enough to buy a prosthetic leg. I can clean ships, cook, help with data logs. The man didn't smile. He didn't say anything. Then he reached into his coat and pulled out a credit chip. He placed it in her hand. It was worth more than 10 prosthetic legs. Why? She asked. Why would you pay this? The man turned and walked a few steps, then stopped. Because you're not broken. You're just unfinished. She stared at the chip. Her hands shook. What do you want me to do? Come with me, he said. Lyra stood slowly. Her metal stick leg made a strange sound. She followed the man. She didn't know why. She didn't know who he was. But for the first time in months, someone had seen her. They walked through the streets. People stared. Some whispered. Soon, they reached a landing area. The man's ship stood there, old, black, and strange. It didn't look like anything she had seen before. The doors opened with a hiss. Inside, the ship was dark and quiet. Lights blinked gently on the walls. It felt alive. The man guided her to a small room. It had a bed, a table, and even a soft blanket. You can stay here, he said. Lyra sat down. Slowly. What is this place? My ship, my rules. You're safe here. She looked up. What's your name? He paused, then said, Kale. And what do you want from me, Kale? He walked toward the door. Before leaving, he said one thing. You'll find out soon enough. The door closed behind him. Lyra was alone, but this time, not unwanted. Silence. Not the silence of peace, but the kind that feels heavy, strange, Watching you. Lyra sat on the soft bed, her hands still shaking. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't cold. She wasn't hungry. She wasn't outside in the dust and noise. She was inside a ship, a living ship. The walls breathed softly. Lights moved like tiny stars. It didn't feel like a machine. It felt like a sleeping creature. She looked around. The small room. Everything was clean. The blankets smelled like sunlight. The food on the table was warm, but she didn't touch it. Who was Cale? Why did he buy her? And why did he say she wasn't broken? Suddenly, the door slid open without a sound. Cale entered. No smile, no emotion. His coat still dark, his boots still dusty. But his eyes, sharp as ever, looked straight at her. "You didn't eat," he said. "I wasn't sure if it was real," she answered. "It's real. Eat, then come with me." Lyra obeyed. Every bite tasted like home. She didn't even know what the food was, but her body remembered how to feel safe and warm. Cale waited quietly, like a shadow. When she finished, he turned and walked down the hallway. She followed him, limping slightly on her broken leg. As they moved deeper into the ship, she noticed something strange. The lights followed them. The walls shifted, opening new paths. "Is your ship alive?" she asked. Cale didn't stop walking. "Not alive, just listening." "To what?" "To you, me, everything." They entered a round room, full of glowing shapes floating in the air. Maps, star charts, moving symbols. Lyra stared in awe. Cale pointed to one shape. It zoomed in. "That's the planet we're heading to." "Why are we going there?" "I have work. You'll help." "Why me?" she asked. He turned to her. "Because no one looks at you. That makes you powerful." Lyra didn't understand. She wanted to ask more, but then Cale moved to a glass case on the wall. Inside it was a prosthetic leg. Not just any leg, it looked advanced. Sleek, glowing faintly blue, with alien marks running down its side. More beautiful than anything she had ever seen. Her breath caught. Cale spoke, voice low and serious. "This is yours. But you won't get it for free." She looked at him. "What do I have to do?" "You help me. One mission. Then it's yours." Lyra hesitated. "Is it dangerous?" "Yes." "Will I die?" "Maybe." "Will you protect me?" Cale looked at her for a long moment. "No. I'll train you to protect yourself." She nodded slowly. "Then I'll do it." Cale pressed a button. The ship began to move faster. The stars outside blurred into long lines. Lyra felt something shift inside her. Not fear. Something else. Purpose. Later that night, she lay on the soft bed, staring at the ceiling lights. They moved like slow waves, she thought. About the streets, the cold, the laughter of those boys. She thought about the people who didn't stop, who didn't see her. And now, a strange man, a living ship, and a glowing leg that could be hers. What did Cale really want? Why her? She remembered what he said. "You're not broken. You're just unfinished." She didn't believe him. Not yet, but maybe. She wanted to. Outside her room, Cale stood alone in the control chamber. He opened a hidden screen. A message blinked in red. "Target located. The hybrid girl has been found. Do not get attached." Cale stared at the message, then turned it off. He looked at Lyra's room and said softly to himself, "Too late." It started with a whisper. Not from Cale, not from Lyra, not even from a person. The ship whispered. Lyra sat in the dark hallway, watching the lights blink across the ceiling like tiny stars. Everything was quiet until she heard it. A soft "H-U-M," a word maybe. She couldn't tell. She stood and walked slowly. Her bare foot touched the metal floor, warm like skin. The ship felt alive again, like it was breathing, watching, waiting. She reached a wall and touched it gently. Suddenly, lights shot across the surface in patterns, like veins under skin. A voice echoed, soft and metallic. "Hello, Lyra." Her heart froze. She stepped back. What? The wall lit up with strange alien symbols. Then it changed into an image of her face. The ship knew her name. Just then, Kale's voice cut through the silence. "Don't touch anything." She spun around. Kale stood there, arms crossed. "You scared me," she said. "I should have warned you," he replied. "This ship is not like others." Lyra looked at the wall again. "It spoke to me. It said my name." Kale walked forward. "It listens to thoughts, emotions. That's how it flies. That's why I chose it. Is it alive? Some say yes. Some say it's tech from the old galaxy, made by a species long gone. It remembers things, sometimes too much." Lyra looked back at the glowing wall. "It feels like it knows me." Kale paused. "Maybe it does." He turned and walked away. "Come on, time to learn your first job." The training room was cold and empty, no windows. Just machines, weapons, and targets. Kale handed her a small device. "What is this?" Lyra asked. "A mind-link scanner. You wear it when we land. It will read alien writing, signs, voices. You translate. Fast. I thought you wanted me to fight. I want you to survive. That comes first." He showed her how to use it. How to stay low. How to read body language. How to hide in plain sight. But he also taught her something else. How to move with her broken leg. How to balance. How to dodge. "You're faster than most people," he said. She laughed. "With one leg?" He shrugged. "Speed isn't in your leg. It's in your mind." After hours of training, Kale led her to another part of the ship, a room with a curved ceiling and a soft blue light. "This is the memory core," he said. "What does it do?" "Shows the past." He touched a panel. A 3D image appeared. In the air, people screaming, ships falling from the sky, cities burning. Lyra's breath caught. She recognized it. It was her planet. The day the war came, the day she lost her leg. She stared at the fire, the broken buildings, the dust. "That's me," she whispered, pointing at a small figure in the image. A girl with purple hair, crawling through the rubble. Kale looked at her. "I saw that footage years ago. I didn't know who the girl was. Now I do." Lyra's voice was shaking. "Why keep it? Why watch it?" Kale didn't answer right away. Then he said, "Because I caused it." The words hit her like a punch. "What?" She said. "I didn't drop the bombs," Kale said. "But I gave someone the coordinates. I thought I was helping end the war. I was wrong." Lyra stepped back. Her heart was racing. "You helped them destroy my home?" Kale didn't move. His voice was flat. "I didn't know you were there. I didn't know who would die. I thought it was just a base. A target." Silence filled the room. Lyra looked at him, eyes full of pain, anger, confusion. "Then why save me?" "Because I saw your face in that footage. And I couldn't forget." They stood there, the past burning between them. Finally, Lyra asked, "And now?" Kale turned and walked away. "Now?" He didn't answer. Later that night, Lyra returned to the wall that spoke to her. She touched it again. The lights glowed. The voice returned. "You were not meant to die," Lyra whispered. "What am I meant for?" No answer, just a sound. A soft tone, like a heart slowly beating. Then one image appeared on the wall. Her, wearing the prosthetic. Leg, standing on a battlefield. Leading an army. Asterisk, her leg was still broken. But for the first time, her mind wasn't. Lyra stood in front of a mirror inside the ship. Her reflection stared back. Tired eyes, bruised arms, wild hair. But she no longer saw a victim. She saw a weapon. Behind her, on the table, lay a small black device, her mind-link translator. Her tool for survival. Kale's voice echoed through the ship. "We land in 6 minutes. You're ready." Lyra didn't answer. She didn't feel ready. But she wasn't going to run. She strapped the device to her neck and limped toward the door. The planet below was called Zeros 5, a lawless trade zone filled with smugglers, mercs, and broken tech. The sky was always red. The ground was dry, cracked, and full of secrets. Kale and Lyra stepped out of the ship. She wore a dark hood. He carried no weapon. He never did. "You stay close," he said. "I'm not here to watch," she replied. "I'm here to help." He gave her a quick glance. "Good." They entered a massive marketplace built inside a canyon. Robots barked deals. Aliens with too many eyes whispered strange codes. Drones flew overhead like flies. Kale stopped in front of a large metal door guarded by two machines. Inside was the target, General Tovik, a war criminal. One of the men who betrayed his own people during the human-outer conflict. Now he lived rich, selling stolen tech. Kale spoke quietly. "You'll translate the documents. I'll get the proof. Then we leave, fast." Lyra nodded. The door opened. Inside, the air was cold and smelled like oil. The general sat on a high chair, surrounded by armed guards. His face was ugly, part flesh, part metal. A large scar ran across his cheek. He laughed when he saw Kale. Well, the ghost finally visits." Kale said nothing. Tovik's eyes turned to Lyra. "And who's the girl?" Kale answered. "She doesn't speak." Lyra lowered her eyes, pretending to be shy, but her mind was racing. Her scanner lit up with alien symbols. In her ear, a voice translated. "Transfer complete. Hide the shipment before the Watchers arrive." She kept reading, quietly saving the data into the device. Suddenly, one of the guards pointed at her. "She's scanning." Tovik stood. "You lied." Kale moved fast. Too fast. In one blink, he had the first guard down, his gun in his hand. A second blink, the room went dark. "Lyra, out!" He shouted. She ran. Her stick leg hit the floor hard, but she didn't stop. Sparks flew. Alarms rang. Behind her, she heard blaster fire. Then, silence. Kale caught up and grabbed her arm. "Data?" he asked. She handed him the scanner. "Everything's in it." "Good." "Then hold on." "What?" Before she could ask, Kale hit a button on his belt. The ground disappeared. They were back on the ship, the teleport system buzzing behind them. The door shut. Lyra fell to the floor, breathing hard. Kale dropped to one knee. Blood leaked from his arm. "You're hurt," she said. "I've had worse. You lied to him. You said I can't speak." Kale smirked. "Well, you just yelled at me, so I guess the secret's out." Lyra laughed, the first real laugh in a long time. Then she stood up and limped toward the med-bay. She grabbed a spray and patched his arm. "You saved me," he said. "You taught me how." Later that night, Kale placed a box on her table. Inside was the prosthetic leg, the same one from the case. He said only one word: "Earned." Her hand trembled as she touched it. The metal was smooth, glowing softly, almost alive. She looked up at him. "Why are you really helping me?" Kale looked at her, silent. Then he said, "Because someone helped me once, and I didn't deserve it." But far away, back on Zeros 5, someone else was watching. In the dark, behind broken tech and silent drones, a woman in a red mask held a small glowing orb. Inside it was Lyra's face. She spoke into a communicator. "Found her. The hybrid. Lives." The ship was quiet, but something was wrong. Lyra woke up in the middle of the night. The air felt heavy, not like fear, but like someone was watching. She sat up. Her new leg, the prosthetic, hummed gently under the blanket. Smooth, strong, glowing with soft blue light. It had changed everything. But outside her room, something moved. She stepped into the hallway. No lights, just darkness. And that strange breathing sound from the walls. the sound the ship made when it felt danger. Kale was already awake in the control room. He stood in front of the screen, red lights flashing. We've been tracked. Lyra's eyes widened. Tracked? But how? Someone hacked the landing codes on Zero's 5. They followed the signature back here. Who? She asked. Kale looked at her. Someone who wants you. The ship suddenly shuddered, not from inside, but from outside. Like something huge had just landed on its back, Kale ran to the controls. Defense shields active. Lyra rushed to the window. Through the glass, she saw them. Hunters, not bounty hunters. Not mercenaries. These were worse. Clad in red armor with helmets shaped like animal skulls, they moved without sound. 6 of them. Climbing across the ship like insects, Kale's voice was calm but sharp. Get to the lower deck. Lock the doors. Don't open them for anyone. What about you? She asked. I'll slow them down. But Lyra didn't run. Not this time. She had her leg now. She had her mind. She had her choice. And something inside her whispered, run. Or remember who you are. She remembered the image the ship showed her, standing on a battlefield, leading something. She wasn't ready for that. Not yet, but she could start now. She grabbed the pulse shocker from the weapons locker. It was heavy, but she held it tight. Her heart beat fast, but steady. The lights flickered. One of the hunters broke through the airlock, silent, fast, a blur of red and black. Kale took him down in seconds. But there were more. Too many. Lyra ran toward the central deck, the heart of the ship, where the old alien tech was strongest. The ship spoke again. You must not be taken, Lyra whispered. Then help me. The walls opened. Inside was something hidden, a silver disc with glowing rings, old tech, pulsing like a heartbeat. She picked it up. Instantly, her mind filled with light. Memories not her own. Images of space, of ships, of people with glowing eyes. She dropped the disc, breathing hard. What was that? The ship answered, your past. Meanwhile, Kale fought like a ghost, fast, silent, sharp, but even he was slowing down. A blade cut his side. He fell to one knee. One of the hunters raised a blaster, aimed at his head. Then, a blast of blue light struck from behind. The hunter dropped. Kale turned. Lyra stood there, pulse shocker shaking in her hand. I told you I'm not watching anymore, she said. Together, they fought the rest. The ship helped, closing doors, redirecting air vents, confusing the intruders. In the end, the last hunter ran. The ship let him go. Kale didn't chase. Lyra looked at him. Why let him escape? Kale said. He'll run home. And when he tells them what happened here, they'll think twice before coming again. Later, Kale cleaned the blood from his arm. Lyra sat nearby, holding the silver disc. What did you see? He asked. I don't know, she replied. But it felt like pieces of me were waking up. He nodded. That disc, it's a memory core, old alien tech. Only responds to certain blood. She looked at him. You knew I'd activate it? I suspected. You're not just part alien, Lyra. You're something rarer. What am I? Kale stared at her, then said softly, a weapon made to end wars. Or start them. Far across the galaxy, inside a dark council chamber, the hunter who escaped knelt before a tall figure in a cloak. She lives, he said. The girl. The figure's voice was cold. Good. Now bring her to me. Alive. Asterisk she dreamed of. Stars. But they weren't in the sky. They were inside her, spinning, glowing, whispering old names she didn't understand. Lyra sat up, sweating. The room was still. But the dream stayed with her. Too real. Too sharp. Too loud. She walked to the ship's mirror. In her reflection, her eyes flickered, just for a second. Not brown, not silver. Blue fire. Kale was already in the control room, watching his spinning data core. His face looked tired. His arm was still bandaged from the last fight. Lyra stepped in. "We need to talk." Kale turned, said nothing. So she said it louder. "What am I?" Kale sighed. He tapped a button. The walls dimmed. A screen appeared, showing a file marked classified, Project Lyra-7. She froze. "That's my name," Kale nodded. "You weren't born like others. You were made." The words hit her like a shockwave. "What do you mean made?" Kale explained. "There was a lab, hidden deep under a war zone. Years ago, human scientists and alien engineers worked together. Secret project. No one knew. Until something went wrong," he added. "You." Lyra's hands curled into fists. "I'm not a weapon," she said. Kale looked her in the eye. "Then why did they build you from war genes?" The truth came slowly. Lyra wasn't just part alien. She was hybrid-coded, with DNA from 5 species: human, alien, psychic, healer, and something unknown. She wasn't created to live. She was created to decide who lives, Kale said. "They plan to use you as a key, a biological override. You could shut down armies, control fleets, heal or destroy. But the lab was attacked before you were activated. You were rescued as a baby, adopted, hidden. Your power stayed asleep. Until..." Now Lyra backed away. Everything felt wrong. Her skin, her breath, her name. "I don't want to be a weapon," she whispered. Kale stepped forward. "Then don't be. You choose what you are, not them." But just then, the ship flashed red. "Alert! Incoming signal." A message played on the screen. A woman's voice, to the girl with the glowing leg. "I know what you are. And I know where you came from. Your real creator is waiting." Kale's face turned cold. "Who is that?" Lyra listened closely. The voice was familiar, from a memory she didn't know she had. She touched the wall of the ship. It responded instantly. Glowing symbols, lights racing. The ship knew her, and it was scared. Suddenly, Lyra saw something, a vision from the ship's core. Woman in a lab coat, holding a baby. Whispering, "I'm sorry, Lyra. We weren't supposed to love you." Then the lab exploded, and the screen went black. Kale pulled Lyra back. Her breathing was fast. Too fast. He placed his hand on her shoulder. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "No, but I will be." Later, she sat alone in the dark hallway of the ship. Her leg pulsed with blue light. Her thoughts raced. She wasn't broken. She wasn't finished. She was dangerous. And not by choice. But now someone out there wanted to finish what they started. She whispered to herself, "If I was made for war, maybe I'll end it." Far away, in a black tower floating in space, the woman in the red mask removed her helmet. She stared at a screen showing Lyra's face. "She's waking up," she said to the figure beside her. "Soon she'll remember everything." The man replied, "Then it's time to bring her home. Dead or alive." It began with silence, not the silence of peace. The silence before war. Above a dying moon, 2 fleets faced each other, one built from metal, the other from memory. In between them, a single ship, Kale's ship. And inside it, Lyra stood. At the center, not the girl from the streets, but the weapon they failed to control. She wore no armor, just a long coat, her glowing leg pulsing through the fabric. Her eyes no longer flickered, they burned, steady and bright. Kale stood beside her, bruised, quiet. He didn't need to speak. He had already chosen his side. A voice crackled over the comms. "Lyra-7, this is your final chance. Surrender and return to Project Origin. You belong to us." She stepped forward and replied, voice calm, "I don't belong to anyone." The signal cut, and the countdown began. The ship shook, missiles locked on. Kale turned to her. "You sure about this?" Lyra looked out at the warships. "If I don't stop them now, they'll never stop coming." Kale nodded. Then finish it. Lyra closed her eyes, reached out, not with her hands, but with something deeper. Inside her chest, the old tech, the silver disc from before, began to glow again. Her DNA responded. The ship itself leaned toward her. Alive. Then she whispered to it, "Let me speak." The ship pulsed. And then every enemy system went dark. In the enemy fleet, lights blinked, weapons failed. Pilots screamed into dead. Radios, control panels melted. The ship wasn't attacking. It was rewriting them. Lyra's voice echoed across every screen. "You tried to make me a weapon, but I'm something else now. I'm the choice you never gave me. Leave or be erased." Some ships turned. Some tried to fight. But one, the black flagship, launched forward. Inside it, the red-masked woman stood at the edge of the control room. "Activate the failsafe," she ordered. A hidden signal fired, meant to shut Lyra down from the inside. Her body froze. Sparks flew from her leg. Her vision blurred. Kale shouted her name, but then the ship spoke. "Override accepted. Lyra has full command." She opened her eyes. No longer just a girl. Not just a creation. A force. She raised one hand. The flagship shattered in silence, broken apart not by bombs, but by her will. The war ended in a blink, not with fire, but with choice. Hours later, in the quiet of space, Lyra stood at the edge of the ship's open ramp. Stars stretched before her. Kale walked over. "Where will you go now?" he asked. She smiled faintly. "Anywhere no one owns me." He nodded. "Then I'll go with you." She looked at him, really looked at him, and said, "You didn't fix me, Kale. You reminded me I was never broken." Epilogue. Across the galaxy, systems once ruled by fear began to change. The name Lyra became a whisper, a warning, a legend. Some said she vanished. Others say she walks among the stars, still watching, still waiting for the next girl sitting alone in the dirt. With a broken leg and a fire in her heart.